everyone, welcome to another episode of Book Discussion Picks. These are some books we've read in my afternoon book discussion in the past, ones we liked and didn't like. So the first book is Lynn Austin. Like I said, we read a lot of Lynn Austin. She just has really good stories. This one is Wonderland Creek, and it is set in Kentucky, so a lot of people can relate to that around here. And it's set during the Depression, and the girl in the front, she is a librarian who loses her job and doesn't really know what she's going to do. So she's sent to Kentucky, and she actually gets involved with the horseback librarians. I don't know if you all have heard of that before. It's the librarians that would take their books, they would get books and basically on horseback go through the hills and the back roads of Kentucky and deliver hope to these people trying to survive during the Depression, people that don't have access, to a lot of things, and a lot of them really look forward to these book deliveries. So she becomes one of these librarians, and it tells a lot about that I'd never read about before, so it was really interesting. And she's privileged, she lives in the city, so it kind of opens her eyes to the struggle of people around her. And she's kind of one of these that lives in her books. She's, if her free time, all she does is read books. One of the opening stories is she's reading a book during a funeral, so she's just kind of out of reality, and this really opens her eyes to the struggles of real people. So it was a good book. Told a lot about history and a lot of interesting facts that we didn't know, so we enjoyed this one. Okay, the next one, Calling Me Home by Julie Kibler. Oh my goodness, we read this one a few months ago, and I'm gonna warn you, it's really heartbreaking, but it's such a good story, and it's an important story to tell. It's about an interracial relationship. I believe it's set in the 50s or the 60s. It's just, during that time period where that just did not happen. Actually, it might have been the 40s. I'm sorry. Let me look here, see when it's set. It goes back and forth between the present day. Okay, it's 1939 is when it starts. So it's during the present day, and then it goes back and tells the story of the past. So it's just, it's a really good story. This 90-some-year-old woman is asks her hairdresser to drive her to a funeral, and you don't know whose funeral it is, and you're kind of guessing the whole way, and we kind of get the backstory as they make this trip. And it also talks about the hairdresser, her struggles, and how she can relate to this 90-some-year-old woman, and it tells about the woman's past. She's the one that has the interracial relationship, and just heartache, a lot of heartache that she's gone through. But wow, it's a very powerful story. And it's also about the unexpected friendship between the two women on this trip together. There's a lot of age difference, and one is African American woman, one is a white woman. So just a lot of different viewpoints, that I personally have never experienced. So a really good story. And I am going to tell you that I did cry openly while reading this book. So just a warning, but it's worth it. All that pain, it's worth it to get through and to see the ending. It's a really great book, very powerful. The next one is set during present day. It's called The Keeper of Lost Things by Ruth Hogan. This was a really interesting book. An older man, he hires an assistant. He passes away, and she inherits his collection. He has a whole room, their catalog, and they're objects that he's found. He tells where he found them, what date it was, and he's hoping to reunite these lost things to their owners. And that is her task after he passes away. She has to track down the owners of all these lost things, like a room full of lost things. And she's a little lost herself. She's gone through a bad divorce and doesn't really know, where her life is headed. So he kind of collects her too. She's a lost thing that he collects. And so we go through and learn the backstories of all these things, where some of these things have come from and how their stories actually tie together. It's really interesting how they bring the stories together. So this was a fun book. It was a good read. We enjoyed it. There was a lot of stuff to talk about with this one too. The last book, Songs of Willow Frost by Jamie Ford. This was a really good book. It's also set through the eyes of an orphan, a child. He's searching for his mother. It's during the Depression, and it's a look at Seattle's Chinatown, which you don't hear as much about. So he believes that this woman is his mother, and she's a star, and he thinks it's her, and we're not really sure if it is or not. Not sure if we can rely on what he thinks and knows. So you really root for William, though, during this book. You really want him to find his mother. He lives in this orphanage, and it's really heartbreaking what these orphans go through. And but it is hopeful. In the end, it's very hopeful, and throughout it's just a look about how these two people got to where they are, or how William got to the orphanage, and then it follows the woman that he thinks is his mother. So it was a really good book. We enjoyed this one also, and it's different cultures too. We always like books like that. So learn a little bit about different cultures, and then the history of the Depression in Seattle. So so those are 4 books we've read, and I think we liked all of them, actually. So if you'd like to check out any of them, you can come to the library, or you can go to Overdrive and do the ebooks or audiobooks. And if you also like more information about the book club, it is on hold for now because of the pandemic. But there is more information at the end of this video. If you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you. Okay, thanks for watching.